So we're back. We're episode 100. It is Canada Day. This is pre-recorded.
100.
Pre-recorded. This will be uploaded Friday. And we have the payoff, dude. Steve. We got Ravi, AAB777, Salt and Battery. So what
Great marketing, by the way. 100 episodes. Me and Steve on together. You guys are good. Clever.
Forget that, Ravi. Just notice that he said my name before he said yours. He knows his stuff.
You definitely got on the call before. It has nothing to do with that. Don't worry. I'm surprised he even asked you to come on. I'm like, no one cares. I was saying, I'm like, buddy, I was telling on the way here, I'm like, 4 people is such a crowd. I'm like, maybe I can convince Justin to kick Steve off somehow and let the man do the work.
All right, 100. What are we gonna do?
Well,
when you think,
the debate, dude. We're trying to finish off. Who influenced more people to go to WrestleMania from the vlog?
I thought this was already done.
No, because we never got both of you on. Every time we got talk, it would rebuttal versus rebuttal. Like it would be hearsay.
This can be simply done through a Twitter poll.
If it wasn't for me, Ravi would still be living in that little bedroom with all the figures on the wall, making videos with Legend Killer. But he's strapped back to the pocket. I took him to WrestleMania in Atlanta.
And buddy, after that, it blew up. I used you. I stepped on you. You were the Genetti. I stepped right over you. That's all that matters. You were in the shadows. You were in the rear view after I was done. I sucked everything out of you.
So you're admitting that I was the one who got you to go to WrestleMania. You jumped on my back.
When did I deny that? Of course. I was on Skype. I was like, guys, I need to get you guys out for me to go to WrestleMania. I'm just saying, after that, people are like, who the hell is Steve? They watch my videos.
Ravi, I thought like you were like the coolest guy in the room. I really didn't know who you were.
Still am, buddy.
But then when you offered, like, hey, or not offered, but I guess you asked, like, hey, can I go with you to WrestleMania? Because Miguel wasn't even in. I was kind of like, I don't really know this guy. But yeah, let's go. Let's do this.
I don't even know how it even came up. I remember, like, at the time, I thought about it, and within 2 days, I already had my ticket booked. It was always in the back of my mind. Going to 18 was the biggest regret. 23, I had the chance to go, because I think Justin maybe remembers. They had some, like, train service that picks you up from like city to city, and they hauled your ass all the way to Detroit, and I was like so close to doing that. And then 24 I was in India, and then 25 I was with Legend Killer. 26 I don't even remember, but yeah, 27 was it. That was like the perfect time.
My heart still breaks for Justin not going to 28, because he made videos like hyping up the fact he was gonna go, and Justin, next thing you know,
didn't Justin like make more money than everyone during WrestleMania 28?
I didn't make any. I was going. I was just gonna go. I told Ravi, and then Ravi told you, and that's how it went.
I just remember like you making a video and be like, yeah, I didn't go.
Well, I never did. I was gonna make a vlog. I was gonna make a vlog and just show up, be like, oh yeah, I'm here. But I ended up making. It was weird. I made more money. I didn't even make the videos the day after, like the right after WrestleMania. I waited till the next day because I scared WWE to do like a ban thing that they did the year before for YouTube videos for anything WrestleMania related. They were going to ban on the Sunday. So I made it like Monday afternoon and they all got hits.
That's one thing I regret not doing, is like having no morals when it comes to milking every single penny out of YouTube. You know, looking back, I'm like, man, that's such a good opportunity to do like the one video a month thing during the Raw 1000. That was my highest like grossing month I ever had. And I was like, if I would have done that for like every big pay-per-view, I would have, I could have done so much. And I know Steve did it a lot. Justin obviously was the higher power behind the whole thing. Miguel was very, very, very good with that. Guys, I'm not selling out my channel, but he did eventually. But he was the last one on board.
Miguel made me do a YouTube video on his channel for a Ronda Rousey fight. So,
but like, man, I don't know. It was such a crazy time. I wish I would have taken more advantage of it, because I wouldn't even gone to Mania if it was if I was making big bank.
You getting in my car, so like 10 minutes into the ride going to the Bret Hart signing, like, so how do you make money on YouTube? And like I gave him my phone. I'm like, look at my AdSense. He's like, what?
Yeah. And I remember going home and telling Jade, I was like, this guy's so obsessed with like his YouTube thing. I remember you had it saved on like your favorites and you would refresh it every 5 minutes. It's like, you open your phone first and you go to his like Twitter. This guy would go in his AdSense and like refresh it. I'm like, this guy's nuts.
It's like, it was like $10 when I picked him up. And then by the time he dropped me off, it was already at $50. And I'm like, we just went to go meet Bret Hart.
Yeah, it was a different world. Because, like, you're so innocent making your YouTube videos. You think you're going to make big bank, and it's like, wow, there's such it's like doing steroids. You can go all natural, put in the work, but it's like, no, I'll just inject this into my body, and I'll be John Cena by the end of the trip.
Well, it was a little loophole.
Especially because, like, back then, everyone, like, looked down upon, like, what you were doing. And, like, with the thumbnails and the titles and everything. And now that's just life. It's like clickbait here, clickbait there. Like, that's just how life is, What's going to get the most clicks? That's all anyone cares about. So in a way, we were the pioneers of the clickbait.
yeah, let's go with that.
We were
but you know what it is?
Word.
People talk shit are the ones who weren't doing it themselves. Once you start doing it and you see the potential you have to, the ceiling that you can reach, it's like, who cares? I think people's morals go out the window when they see how much money you can make. When I saw Steve's Royal Rumble stuff, when I saw his WrestleMania thing, Justin's, I was like, fuck this. Why am I going to cater to, 800, 2,000 to 5,000 people when I can do like 100K?
And here's the thing, like, the base of the whole thing was like, you were making a video talking. It would sound like you were not talking about the match or whatever, but people were expecting to see the actual match. Well, newsflash, people, you're supposed to buy the stupid pay-per-view. You're supposed to pay $9.99 a month. You're supposed to, go to the theater to watch it or whatever the heck. Like, that's
going to the theater to watch like a Hell in a Cell or a TLC match or a Chamber match is like 5 stars.
I remember that was like Canadian.
I would do it if it was here.
That was always a Canadian thing, I feel like. I don't think I've heard of anyone.
It's so cheap. It was like, what, $12 ago or $15?
Go where?
Movie theater. Watch WWE show.
That was great. And they used to give shit. They used to have like raffles and give stuff away for free.
I remember I won like a Stone Cold figure or something. I remember that.
Did they have the lights on or off?
They would have what?
The lights off. It was like watching a movie.
Oh, okay.
But it was weird because people were like talking and cheering and stuff.
One of the matches, and people were chanting, "Turn the lights off" for like 2 minutes.
And then I remember one time the feed cut off, and they ended up giving us free tickets to like whatever. And you know how wrestling fans are too, right? They start going crazy. I want to see the match. I'm missing the match, and then they're like, "Okay, we're sorry," and they gave everyone free tickets.
Wow. Probably it's like 2 minutes of a match or something.
Yeah, it was probably like a dark match too. But wrestling, there were some weirdos, and where I live, there were some weirdos that would show up every month, me included, actually. But like, I couldn't imagine like where Justin lives and like closer to like the actual Toronto area. Holy smokes, there are a bunch of lunatics out there.
What do you mean by weirdos? Like, explain. Like, what's like crazy?
I remember there was one guy. He got mad because there was like that people were throwing popcorn or whatever, and he literally made a big scene. Started kind of promo on these guys. I'm like, buddy, these guys are getting excited. They're throwing popcorn at each other. He's like, if you do that, he starts freaking out. And then afterwards, he actually told the attendant to like clean. Like, he's like, oh, there's a big mess like over here. Like, can you clean it up? It's like, buddy, wait till the show's over. They're gonna clean it up after. And he made this big thing that he wanted it to get cleaned up. And I was like, you know what? These are wrestling fans for you. And I was with Jade at the time.
Guy bringing his belt to the theater. I'm like, what are you doing? You're in a dark room. What are you wearing a belt for?
Ravi, you ever bring your belt to a show? Like, just to a show? Just because.
I have. I feel like you're not. You haven't lived until you brought your belt to a show. When you got that attention, you're walking in there like you're the champ. 365 days, longest reigning world champion. And they're like, wow, look at his belt. Yeah, buddy, look at that belt. You want to take a picture of it? Like that? Yeah, let me take a picture with that belt. But then once you sit down, it's like, why the fuck did I bring this belt?
That's what I'm saying. Like that's what I was thinking. Like, why would you? Like, you can't sit with it on unless you're sitting down on the floor. You know what I mean?
I made
Like,
a mistake at one house show, and I brought my Winged Eagle belt. That was a terrible time.
like, what's the process of like, yeah, I'm gonna bring this belt. Like, I understand, like, so people can take pictures with it because you want all the glory. But like at the end of the day, like, what is the real point? I remember I was gonna bring my stupid commemorative spinner. Like,
I
so
brought the TNA pay-per-view. Remember that pay-per-view, Ravi? Like Sacrifice or something?
No Surrender.
No surrender. I brought my WWF Winged Eagle belt. I thought it was cool because I was 16.
Yeah, no, it was. Those are different times, honestly, different times. And now I see these guys walking around WrestleMania. They have like 3 belts on each, and I'm like, buddy.
Ultimo Dragon, like.
There's some belts, but I remember with me though, I just put the world title around my waist, and I would put it like a little bit loose, so it's like it would just sit there. But man, that top part would like jab into my stomach, and I'm sitting there like miserable as hell. Because then when you want to stand up, you have to like hold it, and you want to take a picture. And at that time, I had my digital camera with me, so you needed 2 hands. So here, my world title's falling down to my like ass, and then I'm trying to like take a picture of like John Cena doing his little salute on the stage. You got to get that right picture, to put on Facebook.
Were you ever signed, guys? Did you ever bring signs to your wrestling shows? I know Breech has.
Oh yeah, I love bringing signs.
Swagger Town, USA.
I've brought one sign to a show. It was right after Cliff Compton did his Art of Wrestling podcast, and he blew up. Oh, no. Right, and I remember it was like that weekend. I sat second row for the Night of Champions 2011 in Buffalo.
Okay. Yeah.
And Domino said the first person to like bring a sign and get it on TV, I'll send you like something free or something, whatever. I was like, wonderful. I'm gonna, I got a big orange sign, put Domino on it, and then I got on. And apparently, he said that 10 other people said that was them. He's like, prove it was me. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, look, I sent him a picture. And then he ended up sending me like an 8x10 and like a t-shirt. And that was the only time I brought a sign. Actually, it was that kind of weird, bringing signs to a wrestling show. I never really saw the point, unless you want to get on TV.
619 me or something on his sign.
That was, I wish. That's the dream, to take a sign on there. Wine me, dine me, 619.
That's Ravi's unofficial favorite shirt he does at home.
Is that a shirt?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's amazing.
That's like the meme shirt of when Ravi makes fun of wrestling t-shirts. It's like a cool logo on the front, and then the back it says "Wine me, dine me, 619 me."
Legend Killer owned that shirt. That's how the joke started at the beginning.
That's crazy.
How about you? You guys? I don't think Justin doesn't seem like a sign person. He barely pops during shows. He just sits there.
Wait,
with his
I
hands.
popped more than you.
No, you don't, buddy. Rey Mysterio came back. You're sitting there with your arms crossed. Excite yourself.
That reaction video for the Rumble.
I'm fine on the couch. When we're at a show, it's way different.
I don't know. I remember that one show we went to.
Never popped to wrestling shows. He popped one time in his whole life at a wrestling show.
When Stone Cold came out at 32, I jumped on
Texas.
the chair.
That's it. That's the Travis popped in his whole life. How many shows has he gone to?
And it's funny because I know that was the exact time, because I've never had that's what it feels like to legit pop. That glass broke. I jumped onto the
chair.
I don't even know how I got on the chair. I got up. I'm like, oh shit! I jumped on the chair. How that? But no, I was. I remember the one show we went to in Windsor. Yeah, I think we were both sitting. Remember that when we went? Was it Windsor?
Yeah.
We met Razor.
What's her face? Was there?
Aaliyah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, the day you cockblocked me. Anyways.
Here we go.
Oh boy.
I remember it was so weird because I don't know if that was one of the first shows we went to, but it was like we both didn't pop for anything. Everyone around us is all having a good time, and me and you were literally just sitting there, dead faced. Like we met Razor and we were ready. I would have went right after that, but we stayed for the show, and it was like I remember it was awkward because it was like we both didn't want to be there, but it was like we weren't into the show.
It was just a random show.
Yeah, I don't know, but like. I remember everyone around us was having a great time. Everyone's all laughing, whatever. And we're just in there like a bunch of we're dead tired.
Because it's an indie show. We're so used to like WWE, TNA, ROH. Like they were just random indie guys, and everyone's marking out like it's like WrestleMania 31 in Windsor.
I guess. And I know when we sit at Raw and stuff, we'll make jokes and back and forth, but that show stuck out because of that reason. I'm like, everyone around us is all having a good time, and we just were there to meet Razor. Once we met him, it was like, all right, well, I guess we'll go to the show now.
We went to Raw together in New Orleans, and like you were like having the time of your life, and I was just like,
loved it. I loved it. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, who came out? No Way Jose. What a great, that was one of the best moments of my like wrestling fandom.
I love that dude. I can't remember one match he ever had, but even his entrances on TV, I would get down to him.
Yeah, that's why that after that Monday, I was loving life. No, and then Alex gave me his little trading card. He was my favorite wrestler for like 2 days.
oh, and on Wednesday, why do I have it?
Man, by Wednesday, I'm like, all right, I don't watch wrestling anymore. I'm good.
Isn't it crazy how we all hung out the last trip ever together, and then all this happened?
I literally tell everyone, I'm like, see that Revolution poster on my wall? That was the last wrestling show ever.
I mean,
that was the last major show ever.
When you think about it, like it's never going to be the same after that. Like the meet and greets are going to be weird. You're not going to be able to shake hands. You're not going to be able to like, for at least a couple more months or to a year, you can't like fit a bunch of people in an arena. I mean, we went to the last normal wrestling trip.
And
overall.
even then, if Revolution would have got pushed a week, even everything would have been screwed. Because I would tell people, I'm like, we went the end of February. Like by the time we got home, it was technically March, and by March, I want to say the second week of March, everything was like done. It was canceled. So it was like, and remember when we showed up at the C2E2, I was looking at my phone and there was like positive case of Corona in Chicago. I'm like, we're all done.
Like there was like 100,000 people in that thing over like the span of the weekend. So could you
rubbing shoulders?
Yeah, like, and the fact that none of us have knock on wood. Oh shoot, I gotta find some wood to knock on. The fact that none of us, have come in contact with it is because of that. Like, it's crazy. Like, there were so many people from so many places around the world in that stupid like convention center that like I don't know, it's shocking the fact that we didn't,
Also, that trip
oddly enough,
the retirement.
The retirement.
No, Breech came out of retirement 4 years in the making.
Oh yeah, that's wow.
I was all
really
fired
up. Real retirement. That was like Ric Flair coming out of retirement. No one remembers. I was gonna say, did you get sick after? Any of you guys?
Mike made us eat, by the way.
What?
Can we before that? Did any of you get sick? Since we're on the subject of like after that trip, did you get sick from like anything?
No.
Okay.
COVID symptoms?
All right. I don't know what it was, but I flew back on Monday, and then I worked Tuesday, and I was fine. Hold on. Whatever day I worked, the day after I came back, I worked all day, and then all of a sudden, the last hour at work, I felt like I was running a marathon, and I was just out of gas, and I just thought I was tired. But then I was walking out to my truck, and I threw up, and after that, I was fine.
You might have had it.
I don't know what.
See, that's like with me, same thing. We came back on Monday, and I hung out with Justin knows. I hung out with Taylor that day. So that was on Monday. Tuesday, I was fine. Wednesday, I was fine. Thursday, I have a fever. I have a headache. My throat's itchy. And like, I'm done. Like, when your body feels like it's like finished. Like I ran a marathon, like Steve.
Yeah.
So I'm waking up. I'm like, I have it 100%. So now it's like, what do I do? Do I tell someone? Do I just go to the doctor on my own? Whatever. So I call the doctor and make an appointment for the next day. And I just tell him simply that I traveled earlier this week and I just want to get tested to see if I'm okay. And also, I forgot to mention, before that time, I saw that one girl and I saw another girl on top of that like 2 days after. So I saw two girls in that time span. And I go to the doctor the day after. My fever was gone. My throat was like okay, but my body was like still feeling like off. So he didn't do the COVID test, but he did like some respiratory stuff, and he's like, you're fine, whatever. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, so on the weekend, the girl I saw the day I came back who picked me from the airport, she's done. She's like, I have a fever, I have this, whatever. And I'm like, oh boy. And then 2 days later, the girl I saw after that, I have a fever, I have this. I'm like, coincidence, simply a coincidence. So low key, I do think I know a lot of people say they had symptoms during that time, and maybe their body just fought it off, but I am like 85% like convinced that I had it, especially if conveniently 2 people that I saw in that time just were done for like a few days as well.
Yeah,
So
I
like,
mean, it was either that, like, you're gonna, I mean, what's it called? Like in the future, just say that, like, you had it, like, and you had to deal with it. But honestly, it could have just been because there were so many people, and every time there's a convention or a wrestling like weekend, I feel like everyone always comes out of it sick because that's just how it works, and
yeah,
so
and
that
even
could be
traveling
it.
in general.
But yeah,
And weather as well. I know, like traveling, yeah, even after WrestleMania, I always end up catching a cold or like doing something when you
yeah.
travel from one extreme temperature to the other. But I was just curious if anyone else got sick because I never really told anyone that it was like it was that severe. But
I
yeah,
mean,
let's talk about those beefs.
well, hold on. When you think about it, who were the 2 people that were fighting like on that Monday or that Sunday night? You and Breach were like, locking up. So really makes you think.
That's
Oh, baby. We
what a
were
great match that was.
bumping uglies.
Why is every time you guys like have a match against each other, Breach is always the one that takes the L?
That's how life works,
No,
buddy.
that's not
Their
true.
life makes
There we go.
winners and they make losers. Breach is simply a loser. I don't know what to tell you.
Oh, he doesn't have no rebuttal.
Rebuttal bridge. All right, cool.
It's
We'll
leaky.
move on.
Well, now when you think about it, so Breach, you've been making videos pretty much every single day for the past, like, I don't know, like a million years. Ravi's trying to do a redemption tour every single day. I think we're still on the
True.
2016 redemption tour.
Yeah, we're
Now, what
good.
do you guys think about Miguel coming out and saying, I'm going to come back to YouTube, I'm going to do a podcast? I mean, you guys should be on the same team here against Miguel now because, I mean, Miguel's knocking on your guys' door.
Give it 3 videos. He'll be
Oh.
He's in 3 videos.
done. 3. I think he'll do 3.
I'll tell you the truth. I don't think he'll even come out with a second, like the next one. I mean, it took over a year to upload the videos from WrestleMania 32, and they were just clips.
I mean, I think he sees that YouTube still. I mean, it's not as actually. What am I saying? No one does videos on anymore. Like, very, very few people. I think I'm probably subscribed to maybe 5 people that like I watch maybe on a regular basis. I don't even remember their names at this point. Like, there's so many new people on there, and I think you want that spotlight again, brother. He has a fairly people ask about him all the time, and like it's a cool thing to do to pass time. That's the one thing I noticed. Like when you wanna. Like sometimes I'm driving, I'm like, man, I wish I could like make a video on like the wrestlers getting COVID or something. Like you got stuff to talk about. But the thing is, it's changed so much from like the time Miguel made videos where people would actually sit there for 10 minutes and 59 seconds and listen to you.
Mm-hmm.
Where now people's attention span's so small where it's like if your video isn't good within like 2 minutes and you're like, boring, they'll shut you off right away. And I see it on my run times. People watch about a 7-minute video. They watch about 4:59.
Yeah. That's why podcasts are so big because you can play it in the background. You can be driving, you could be running, you could be walking, you could be doing something else. And like, you can have it in the background. You can pay attention to parts. You could, space out with parts. A video, you have to be like staring at the video most of the time. And that's why it's like,
It's hard to hold people's attention, I realize. I've watched people's videos and I find myself critiquing them a lot as if I'm any better. But like to me, you got to stick out from everyone, especially because everyone is essentially talking about the same thing, just in a different room with a different background.
Pretty what you're saying.
But like, why is it that when I upload like Chicago the movie or Atlanta the movie or like I just make I slam all the clips together. I don't even edit them. Well, like they'll watch the whole fucking thing, like almost every single person. Like the runtime on that.
People like collaboration. So when they see StevieBreech and Assault and Battery, in the same spot, it's like, oh man, that's like must watch because those are the 2 people that I watched when I was like 8 years old, and like I want to see them together after all these years, and so that's why that's why the Mania trips are always big because. Honestly, it was the All Out trip or All Out, All In, one of the trips. Whenever like, people are together, those views always go up because people want to see, not only the events of what's going on that weekend, but they want to see people interacting with each other, because how many times are we going to see,
That's
these
true.
people together?
I agree. That's why I didn't even really think about it like that either. Like you kind of made it seem like the way I'm looking at it is like All-Star Weekend in NBA. Like you got every team, all coming together, and
No,
like
exactly.
just to see how they interact with each other, and just like, and the thing is, we know each other so well through the internet, like through virtual talking and whatever. So when we actually come in person, you would think, and it does happen, it's like it just excels so much more, and everything becomes so much more entertaining because we know each other's personalities, and we're not even in the same room. When we're in the same room and we're hanging out, it's literally, look how many funny classic moments have happened during the Chicago trip. Half of them we didn't even get on camera, and then the ones we do get on camera, even from the first WrestleMania until now, there's been countless amount of stuff I even forgot about. People like, oh, do you remember when this happened? I forgot all about it. But it's like there's so much.
My favorite thing, Ravi, is when you did the Jeff voice and you were looking at the Cubs jerseys, and I begged you to do it again, and you wouldn't do it again. And oh man, I did. I had my camera out. I thought I was recording, but I hadn't hit the button. I was just that idiot holding his phone up. But that was hilarious when you did that Jeff voice.
See, the one thing with me and trips the past couple of times is like I don't want it, like I don't care as much about like recording anymore, because I want to kind of experience it for myself. And I feel like for so many years beforehand, the recording took over being in the moment, and so you're watching the moment go through like a camera lens. So it's like I want to just like step back and watch everything play out. But then again, like I want to go back and watch that as like a home movie or something. So it's like you fight yourself with like, do I want to record everything, or do I want to remember all this as I remember it? Because a lot of times I'll forget something, but then I'll watch it so many times on a video, and then like I'll remember it because of the video, and it won't be like a real memory. You know what I mean?
Oh man, the one thing I wish we recorded more, Ravi, was when we were in Vegas in that Observer hotel room.
See, look, at the time, I remember I just wanted to get shit faced. I was like, you know what, just pour me like vodka orange, and I was just enjoying. But no, for sure, like that. When is the next time you think that'll ever happen? And that's like one of those things. Like like to me, I always think about what can I record, like stuff that other people aren't recording, stuff that you won't get anywhere else. That's what I want to put in my video. That clip was probably the most rarest thing I'll ever do in any trip. Is like a wrestling party with Dave Meltzer and whatever.
I have a 10-second clip of him watching New Japan, and like that's like I laughed to this day.
And I think we were like in so much shock about like what we saw. Like I forgot all about it. And yeah, it's crazy. It's we were there
for 2 hours. We didn't record not even like 2 minutes.
Probably that. And there's been a whole bunch of like with me, it's the opposite of what Mike is. Now, like I wish I can like have the phone capacity like size to record hours and hours. Like Miguel had his girlfriend with the GoPro. I think I don't know how many hours of footage he had, but like I wish I had that, and then just go through everything and just cut it all out. A lot of the clips I have, like let's say I record 10 hours, or sorry, not 10 hours, 3 hours, I'll use like 2.5 hours of that.
So yeah, you did that with, what's it called? You did that with Revolution. I feel like you filmed a lot more, and then when you watch the video, it's only like, I don't even know, like 30 minutes, 20 minutes, and I'm like, man, he filmed so much. Like, come on, just like you did with your room tour, give me some like, deleted scenes, which is pretty much the same thing. Now let's talk about that for a second, Ravi. So you asked me to do this thumbnail, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like, it's just like, deleted scenes. And in my head, I'm like, well, why the heck didn't you just put it in the other one? And then I'm watching this video, and I'm like, so what this guy did was he made the same room tour video twice, and he uploaded them 2 separate times, and I was like, you know what? Hats off to you. Hats off to you.
The thing I figured out, no one wants to see anything except my room tour. I might even do a part 3, to be honest. I was like, people just want to see this. I'm like, I may as well run with it. And in my defense, I did forget the stuff on the desk. If you watch the first one, I didn't talk about that. So that was the original plan. But it was only like 3 minutes. So I'm like, what am I going to do? So I may as well just like pan through everything. But like, if it was up to me, I would go one by one and be like, this is Jimmy Snuka, this is Bob Orton, but it's going to get boring. So I'm like, just pan through it.
I was gonna say, like, well, first off, I respect the fact that the second video or the first video ended with the poster that I made. That was very good. It had a good couple of seconds at the end there to wrap it up. So I appreciate that. But what you should do is you should go and take divide your room, by wall, and then divide the wall by section, and then make a video about the figures on the top of your wall, and you can talk about stories for each one, and it's still a room tour, and you can do 20 to 30 videos of different parts of your room. Think about the DVD shelf. You can go shelf by shelf talking about the different DVDs. Ravi, I mean, this is like $1,000 idea.
This is pretty, actually. You know what? You might be right on. That was like the wrestling bins. I remember I started with that. I would do bin 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Now it might just wall 1, 2, 3. I mean, listen, the options are endless at this point. I feel like. I mean, I could open up anything in my. I guess that's just gonna be another video on its own. I made a new storage place for all my wrestling stuff. That's gonna probably be the next video, to be honest.
Wow.
Wrestling storage room.
You gotta show all those loose ones you have left. Or you show your closet. You didn't even show your closet.
Buddy, there's nothing in my closet. I actually got rid of a lot of the wrestling shirts.
How do I know
They're
that?
all in storage.
How do I know that?
You guys want to see my underwear and other girls' underwears they leave here? Sure.
I'm not saying I do, but other people do.
There's, like I said, options are endless at this point. And it's whatever. It's not like I'm making bank off YouTube like I was 10 years ago, whatever. So now I'm just doing it for my own fun. On my day off, I'm I'll please the 10 people who'd be make videos, make a room tour. Okay.
But none of us are making what we once made, so it's you just got to get the you look at the views and you're like, okay, if it hits this, I'll be okay, and then it hits that and you're like, all right, that's not what it was back in the day, it's not 100,000, but you know what, it hit that and I'm okay.
Sure, of course.
Okay.
Everyone at my work is shocked. They're wow, you used to do this for a thing. I'm man, I wish I didn't stop, because now it's I'm more motivated than I was then, but it's it's just a different world, and it's something you just have to accept. And to think that I've been doing this for my late teens and my 20s, and now I'm going to turn 30. I think I've been doing this for three decades.
The thing that I always hear is that YouTube doesn't. I don't know if, when I say YouTube doesn't I'm just saying that as the algorithm doesn't like older channels. So the people that are have been doing this for so long, they either created a new channel at some point or they took off at the right time. In the 2013, 2014, they took off at the right time and kept going. So for us, it's because we were so stagnant and it was kind of it was a very, very small incline. It's because we stopped it, and then came back and stopped, and then Redemption Tour 1 and Redemption Tour 7, it kind of
relax. There was 3. There was 3. Okay.
Well, okay, 2016
stock videos instead of wrestling videos now.
2016 was the first one, so that's 4 years. So I mean, that's 4.
I shouldn't have stopped. I regret so much that first one took off so well with the T-shirts and everything. You know what I mean? I should have ran with that. Then my computer broke, and I was there you go. Of course, this is gonna happen. By then, I just gave up on life.
Shout out to Phil and the 2 other people that bought a T-shirt.
Ravi went to WrestleMania 32 and then
all you guys got.
Gave up.
Hey man, we can't sell the Barry shirt. We tried. So anyway, well, Breech, I got a question for you, and then I'll ask the same to Ravi. So obviously, never say never, but do you ever see yourself stopping YouTube at all? I mean, you've been going strong with these stock videos that I told you to make, but what do you think? What's the future for StevieBreech?
That's the only thing that there is to talk about. I mean, almost every day on vacation, when I would look at I look at Ringside News to give them a plug, honestly, more than anything else. I read the headlines, and there's nothing worth talking about in wrestling at all. I can't even think of a discussion video to make about anything. There's just no news because nothing's happening. It's just boring right now.
But do you think discussion videos would, I know you don't care at this point, whatever. You're lucky if you get 10 views on a video. But do you think discussion videos would even get a thing? That's what I was saying. Miguel was in the discussion era of wrestling, where he would do the what do you call shaving cream videos, and then he would do discussion videos. That's like what Miguel was. But like maybe the shaving cream video would be, that's what Miguel should do. He should come back and do shaving cream 2020.
Oh,
just show everyone again.
He should shave cream right in the center plate where it doesn't bend.
Buy a new belt.
I'd say go to Toys R Us and buy like, oh, you can't go there anymore, but go buy like a freaking kid's belt and just like wipe the shaving cream off.
Oh jeez.
But no, I hear everything's so boring. Everything's so boring to talk about.
I know, but like when I make the discussion videos, I mean it's for like the I'm sure you have the same people that comment on your videos. I mean the people like Chad Rapp and Death Adler and
in fact, you know their names. What a good joke.
Where does Steven live? Steven lives in Boston, right? I think he does. You know what I mean? Oh, it's Triple H guy. That's how you might know him.
Get to the point.
Like that. The people that actually like watch the videos still like 20 years later and talk about them with me, and like they'll tweet me, like that's what means something to me. Like if I could cash a YouTube check, I'll take it. But like when I talk wrestling, most of the time it's because I read a headline, I read the story, it either gets me worked up. Like the point, like I'm excited for it, or I'm thinking how stupid it is, and I just need to get that off my chest. Because if I go back to work and I start talking about it with the people I work with, they look at me like I'm a fucking idiot, like I'm an alien or something like that, and I'm growing a third arm off the side of my head. Like they don't saying to them
if the shoe fits.
So,
you know, it's funny with my workplace. It's actually the opposite. Everyone there watches, like they used to watch before, and they're starting to get into it again now. And they come to me asking me what's going on. And the most embarrassing thing, let me tell you, was explaining Otis to someone. Like there's this fat guy, and I was like, oh boy, like where do I start? So like I showed them, and there's actually a YouTube channel that had 2 matches on there. It was Orange Cassidy versus Pac. And then the ladder match with the Bucks and Lucha Bros. I was like, buddy, watch this, and then like let me know what you think. This guy comes back, he's like, holy shit, like what is this? So now I'm like, All Elite Wrestling, and I'm like, watch this. So now it's like I kind of diverted him from like the stuff that's going on like Mondays and Fridays on Raw and SmackDown. I'm like, you know, if you want to watch, this is what I watch. Like I don't watch that as much, barely anymore. And a lot of people ask questions. I'm actually surprised because for so long, you guys were the only ones I would talk about wrestling with. And now it's like I'm at work and they see the videos and they see me with my wrestling shirts and they ask me a million questions. And it's actually, I'm like, wow, I actually have people to talk about wrestling with. It may not be very like depth, like, you know, it's very basic, but still, I was like, damn, out of all times when I'm barely into it, now everyone wants to talk wrestling with me.
So obviously a lot of people started YouTube because they wanted to find someone to talk wrestling with, and obviously now you have that. Ravi, do you ever see yourself, you know, obviously, you know, we've seen it a couple times, you've taken some breaks, but, you know, what about completely, you see yourself like stopping YouTube?
My original idea was to retire in 2019, 10 years. I was going to call it the Decade of Assault, make a video, and...
Don't think you can use that.
No, 10 years, yeah.
Decade of Assault. Don't think you could do that.
And then just like cut it after that, like, you know, just the retirement tour or something. But then I was like, you know what? Like I was about to, and I literally had anxiety over it. I was about to make the video. I'm like, why am I like all nervous and stuff? Because it's like, you know, and I'm like the Undertaker. I'm all getting choked up over here. You know, I just got a big thing in my throat. So I was like, maybe I shouldn't do it, and then I didn't do it. So like, I'll do it until, like, I mean, why not? Maybe I'm, you know, man's getting a little bit older as the years go on, so I'm sure it's going to come to a point. But like, I don't see the collection going away. And if the collection's here, then I guess I'll be here. Yeah, why not? Yeah, there you go. That's your answer.
I see YouTube, like, just, it's always going to be there. So if you want to upload a video when you're 50, if you want to, you know, whatever, like, it's always going to be there. It's always going to be like a place to say something or post something. So you can never retire officially because it's always going to come back. So
half my life is on the internet. I ain't going anywhere, man.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I feel bad. I search my name. I'm like, oh god, this stuff's online.
Yep, it's crazy. So that's it, Justin.
What up?
100. We've been doing this for 100 freaking
I know,
days.
dude. Anyways, like I was saying before, one last thing. Let's talk about this terrible beef.
Dude, I spent the last
Moist.
20 minutes diverting the conversation, and we wrapped it up.
No.
We put a bow on. We
That's
put a
so
bow
gross.
on it. I wrapped the bow twice. I put 2 bows, and Justin's like, "Let's talk about the beef." So let's talk about the beef.
Let's do actually. It was very like incredibly disappointing. And we were so hungry, and Mike's like, I know this great spot, man. It's the best in Chicago. We get there, this thing, it was like a super soaker. It was like a sponge. I'd been into it, and it was like I had to fill up my glass of water. It was like a shot glass that filled it with water. Mike, explain yourself.
Can I defend myself? Okay, so basically, the Italian beef, there's many different places. If we were to go to the number one beef place, it would be about an hour and 15-minute drive into the city at like 10 o'clock. The place wasn't open. It wouldn't be open by the time we would get there. And you don't want to be at that part of the city at that time of night. Anyway, so I couldn't take you to there. And Portillo's is like, when people come to Chicago, it's like, oh, you got to try Lou Malnati's, got to try Giordano's, you got to go to Portillo's. So you know what? I took you to Portillo's. That's one thing that the other people who have come on these wrestling trips in Chicago cannot say that they've done because they haven't gone to Portillo's. So you got to one up on them. Now the beef situation, that was a bad beef night. It was good, but it wasn't
bad beef
like
I've had a
the
bunch of
milkshake
bad
was
beef
good.
nights.
I'll admit the milkshake was good.
the fact.
The onion rings were good.
And then the other thing is like, I don't know how to explain. You just kind of have to understand it for yourself. So don't blame me. You should be putting the blame towards Portillo's because Portillo's has recently sold. So it's the people who bought Portillo's fault because Portillo's used to be really good, and now it's like McDonald's. Like it's turned into like a
McDonald's.
It's turned into a corporate thing.
So you essentially took us to McDonald's, is what you're saying.
I took you to the
An expensive McDonald's, by the way.
McDonald's in like when it first started, kind of thing. When McDonald's sold and became a corporation, that's what I took you to.
You're just lucky Chicago has that deep dish pizza to make up for that.
That was good pizza, though. I'll tell you that much. I like that.
The best. Nothing touches that.
On that note.
On that note.
We'll talk to you again after a while. We got them both on, yeah.
Wonderful.